Have you ever noticed that the more you try to be free, the more something inside tightens? Have you seen how, at the very moment clarity feels near, a subtle resistance appears, not loud, not obvious, but deeply protective? What is this inner force that guards something you cannot even see? Why does the mind seem willing to suffer endlessly, yet refuses to let go of one invisible center? And if awakening is your natural state, what exactly is being defended? A seeker once came to Ramana Maharshi with a quiet confusion that carried enormous weight. He did not ask about philosophy or metaphysics. He asked something more intimate. Master, if truth is so simple, why does something in me resist it so strongly? Maharshi did not rush to answer. He let the silence expose the question itself. Because, as he often demonstrated, the real inquiry is not in the words, but in the one who feels threatened by the answer. Maharshi pointed gently, again and again, to a radical understanding: the ego is not merely a thought, it is a survival movement. And like any survival movement, it protects its ground at all costs. But what is that ground? It is not your body. It is not your personality. It is not even your life circumstances. What the ego protects is the illusion of being a separate center, the felt sense of, I am this individual entity. Maharshi called this the root thought, the I thought. Every other fear, desire, defense, and attachment branches from it. Why did Maharshi say this is defended so fiercely? Because the ego's entire existence depends on misidentification. The moment attention turns inward and questions, who am I? The ego senses danger, not physical danger, existential danger, and so resistance appears. Distraction arises, doubt grows louder. Suddenly the mind becomes philosophical, skeptical, restless, or sleepy. Maharshi would say this is not coincidence. It is the ego's last defense mechanism, not against truth itself, but against the dissolution of its false claim. The seeker pressed further. But Master, why does this resistance feel so personal? It feels like I am protecting something vital. Maharshi's teaching reveals the paradox. The ego borrows your sense of being. It speaks in your voice. It feels like you because it is built from identification. So when it resists, it feels like self-preservation. Yet what is actually threatened is not your existence, only the mistaken belief about what you are. This is why Maharshi never framed self-inquiry as an intellectual exercise. He understood that the ego can easily survive philosophy. It can even survive spirituality. It thrives on becoming a seeker, collecting insights, polishing identities. But when inquiry becomes direct, when attention turns toward the feeler of I, the ego cannot stand on conceptual ground. Its defense intensifies precisely because it is being seen. Notice how subtle this protection is. The ego does not shout, "Do not awaken." Instead, it whispers, "Later. You are not ready. This is too simple to be real." Maybe another teacher, another method, another experience. Maharshi exposed this not to condemn the mind, but to free the seeker from being hypnotized by it. He was showing that resistance is diagnostic. It tells you exactly where identification still lives. The ego protects what it cannot justify, the assumption that you are limited. The seeker asked again, almost pleading, if the ego protects itself so completely, is freedom even possible? Maharshi's response was revolutionary in its simplicity, freedom does not require defeating the ego. It requires seeing it. The ego's power lies in being unexamined. The moment its root is questioned, sincerely, steadily, its defenses lose foundation. Not because you fought it, but because illusion cannot survive clear attention. Here is the profound shift Maharshi wanted the seeker to recognize. The ego protects a fiction, but the awareness that sees this protection is untouched. Resistance appears in awareness. Fear appears in awareness. Even the sense of I am resisting appears in awareness. That awareness is not threatened. It does not defend, does not cling. It simply is. So when Maharshi spoke about turning inward, he was not suggesting an escape from life. He was pointing to the one place the ego cannot dominate, the source from which the sense of I arises. Each time the question, who am I, is asked without seeking a verbal answer, attention returns to that source, and every return weakens the ego's defensive narrative. The seeker, sensing this, asked the most human question: why does letting go feel like death? Maharshi would say, because the ego equates non-identification with annihilation. Yet what dies is not you. It is the misperception. And misperception dissolving is not tragedy, it is clarity. The fear belongs to the structure that cannot survive truth, not to the awareness that you are. This is why the ego protects this at all costs. It protects the illusion of separateness because its entire continuity depends on it. But Maharshi's insight cuts deeper. What needs protection was never real to begin with. Only misunderstanding sustains it. Awareness does not need defense. Being does not resist itself. And here lies the final paradox Maharshi embodied. The ego's last defense is intense, but it is also fragile. It thrives on unconsciousness. The moment you look directly, not with aggression, not with expectation, but with simple sincerity, the defensive structure begins to thin. You are not destroying anything real. You are recognizing what has always been prior to the defender. So the invitation Maharshi left is astonishingly intimate. When resistance arises, do not fight it, justify it, or obey it. Ask quietly, to whom does this resistance appear? Follow the sense of me inward, not conceptually, experientially, and stay there, not as a seeker chasing an outcome, but as awareness recognizing itself. What the ego protects cannot survive this seeing. But what you truly are does not need protection. It never did. And when that is glimpsed, even for a moment, you understand why Maharshi spoke with such calm certainty. The defense was never the problem. The belief in the defender was. And in that recognition, the struggle softens, not because the ego was conquered, but because its secret has been seen. It was guarding an illusion, while what you are has always been free.